Hello, comrades. This is your brother Jamala speaking to you today with another type of topic that's going to be basically called Reflections of the African Experience, like reflecting back. And I decided to generate a series of questions to just throw out there and ask. Maybe those questions you will answer, maybe some you'll think about. I even think about some of these questions, but it just questions to make you think, just to make you think and reason within yourself. It's not meant to be negative, but it's about a little bit about our experience as with our slave history and our history of colonization. All the years of colonization, all the years of slavery, all the years of ill treatment, all the years of being sold out, being betrayed, being let down. And even during the time of all this chaos, there was religion, there was Christianity, there was Islam, there was Judaism. Of course, we had atheists. There were many nations on the scene during our sojourn as slaves, as our sojourn is being colonized. So the questions that we're going to present are for my brothers, my sisters of African descent in the continent and on the diaspora. Who loved us when we were taken from the shores of Africa? Who loved us when we were on the ships that were set to what is now called America, to a point of no return where we would ever come back? Who loved us when we were in chains during our sojourn in slavery? Who loved us when we were colonized? Who loved us when we were lost? Who loved us when we were in misery? Who loved us when we were being raped? Who loved us when we were being beat? Who loved us when we were being killed? Who loved us when we were being hanged? Jesus said his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Coming to him all those that are heavy laden and burdened, and he will give them rest. In the last video I said, they say God will not put on you more than you can bear, or that you will not be tempted above that you're able. We know that scripture, but we also know that man, as I said last time, man will put on you more than you can bear. It says that religious men sometimes bind heavy yokes upon people that they themselves cannot bear. They put these yokes on their neck, weights that they won't even take a finger to move. So man can put on you more than you can bear. That goes back to what I was saying about God won't, but man will. So, who came to rescue us when we were in bondage and slave? Who came? Who came to visit us? Who came to check on us? Who wrote letters on our behalf? Maybe some people did we don't know about. But these are just things I'm throwing out here for you to think about. When we resisted, who helped? Who resisted those who tried to take us away and put us in chains and beat us? What outsider resisted? There are a few, but this just to think. What church rose up on our behalf and spoke against slavery? Maybe one, maybe two. It's just a question to think. What synagogue rose up to say this is wrong and inhumane? What Jewish organization, what Christian organization, what Muslim, what synagogue, mosque rose up to come to our aid? What religion spoke out? Was it Mennonites, Quakers? What nation threatened slave owners that what they were doing was wrong? What nation came to our rescue to get us out of slavery? What nation rose up to threaten the West about how they were treating African slave descendants? What slave master who had a wife, what wife cried out on our behalf? Which slave master's children cried out on our behalf? What grandmother cried out? What religious organization came for us that were deeply committed in their faith? Maybe a good Samaritan here and there. We have the Underground Railroad. Thank God for that, where there were people that were helping slaves escape. There were some uprisings like Nat Turner, the preacher, who was leading a revolt against slave masters and burning down plantations, killing slave masters. You have little things here and there. But what nation and what military came to our aid? Why were we in that situation for so long? What minister? What divine act or sovereign act? Divine intervention, we call it, that we can think of that came to get us out like the angels and the angelic host. Maybe that wasn't their mission at that time, but maybe it was for man to do it. 400 years, who lost sleep over what we were going through, getting hung for rising up, getting hung for speaking up, getting hung for speaking out, getting burned at the stake for false accusations? What nation came to get us out of that? What nation was pricked in the heart to say this is wrong, let them go? Who came to rescue us? And over the years, what messenger came with a message to even bring us further up? Can we say Dr. King? Can we say Elijah Muhammad? Can we say Malcolm X? Can we say Marcus Garvey? Can we say Louis Farrakhan? Can we say Medgar Evers? can we say? Kwame Nkrumah. What they could do, what little they could do, and those guys were swept off the map, taken off the planet, ran into exile. Interesting. Anybody that rose up perished, one form or another. And I say and I ask all these questions because we want to say a lot about we weren't Christians when we were taken into slavery. We weren't, or we were Muslim when we were taken in. We were originally this, we were originally that. But what group came to our aid? What laws were in place to say that those laws were wrong? I don't care if you're Muslim or Christian or Jew. If you went along with it, the hell with that religion for that time, or those practices. So I put those questions out there for you to think. And I'm going to go on further to say, what walls kept us in slavery? Like prison walls, electric fences. You have chains and whips for the slave. You have fences for the dog and cattle. You have walls for prisoners. You have stalls and stables and fences for horses, cows. But the slave was held by fear, guns, plantations, but not necessarily restricted as prisoners, but they still wouldn't run because of fear and terror. Some of these were Christian, some were Muslim. Their faith wasn't able to get us out of that. Why were we in that situation as long as we were? One great gentleman that is now a present leader today in Africa said that because of the traitors, because of the puppets and the sellouts is what made the slave system and the colonized system last so long, because they worked hand in hand with the people that took us into slavery. They helped sell us. They kept it lucrative. The Uncle Tom and the sellouts on the plantations kept slavery lucrative. And that's why these people, they're a cancer. That spirit is a cancer. That traitorous spirit that goes along for money. You can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve God and money. These were servants of money, filthy lucre. So this is called reflections, reflecting back who helped us, who did anything about it. Then we read about Moses. That story was already there when we were brought into slavery. So these people knew the harshness of slavery by reading that story, but they still came and took us in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s away from our freedom. And they even had Bibles. So it's a condition of the heart that says that you're a child of God. It's a condition of the heart that says you're a man of God or a woman of God. It's a condition of the heart that says that your nation stands for righteousness. It's a condition of the heart that your laws are made either bad or good. And it's a reflection that you know God that you cannot see by how you treat your brother every day that you can see. Don't tell me that you know God and you can't treat your fellow man right or speak on his behalf when it's in the power of you to do so. I'm going to part 2 of this, and I thought I would leave this with you. I want you to think. I want you to meditate. on the things that were just shared, the things that were just asked. I conclude here. God bless you. Peace and love. Hotep.